In this tutorial video, we'll demonstrate how to use auto-blogging in WordPress with Page Generator Pro. For those new to the concept, auto-blogging is where we automatically produce blog posts for our website, and this is typically driven by an RSS feed or some external data. In this use case, we've built a site for a plumbing business, and they have a number of services covering bathrooms, kitchens, boilers and general servicing, as well as a 24/7 call-out service. But the one thing that's missing from this site is a blog. And the reason that we want this is we want to capture search engine traffic for common search terms that prospects may use on Google and other search engines regarding plumbing. For example, they might be looking for how to fix a leak or how to find a good kitchen plumber. To do this, there are 3 steps that we can take in Page Generator Pro. The first is to navigate to the keyword system, and we'll go ahead and click Add Keyword. And for the title, I'll use the name blog title. And at this point, I could enter a list of the blog post titles that I'd like to generate. But I may not know this industry well, or I may not know what people are searching for. And so by selecting the source as OpenAI or any supported AI service, we can instruct AI to tell us some suitable blog titles. So in this example, I'm instructing the AI to write some titles for plumbing tips, how-tos and FAQs, as this is relevant to the business that we're operating in. I'll set a limit. So here I'll select 10, but there's no limit. We could set this higher if we wanted to, and we'll go ahead and click Save. We then get a list of suitable terms, and I'm free to edit these. So if I think some of these are not suitable, I can take them out. I could add more in if I want to as well. The second step is to add a content group. And content groups are the templates from which we generate our blog posts. So on the Generate Content screen, we'll click Add New Content Group. For the title, we'll use a left curly brace to access the keyword system and select blog title. And for the content, I want this to be driven by AI. So I'll go ahead and add the OpenAI dynamic element, but you're free to use any of the supported AI dynamic elements that Page Generator Pro provides. The topic again, we can support keywords, so we'll just enter blog title, and we'll set this to be a little bit longer. We'll come in at 400 words there. In this example, I'm not providing the AI any instructions here. And that's because I've already, in the settings system under integrations, instructed AI and given it some context to what the business is about. If you put the instructions here, they're global to all of our AI dynamic elements. If you want more granular control, you can place them in the instructions field here. We'll go ahead and define the permalink, which again will be the keyword. For the featured image, I'd like to include an image as I think that adds some nice visuals to our blog post. So we'll go ahead and use Gemini AI in this example, and I'll just tell it to do an image related to plumbing. We're not too fussed about the content as long as it's somewhat relevant to the business. Most importantly, on the Output tab, I want to make sure that the generated image, which is saved to the media library, has a title, an alt tag, and description and file name relevant to the blog post itself. And once again, we can go ahead and use the keyword system here for the title, use it for the alt, the description and the file name as well. Because we're interacting with posts, I think a great way to add authenticity is to allow people to comment on them. But we can go even further. We can also generate our own comments below our blog posts within WordPress. So here we'll tick the Generate Comments option. We'll have it produce 3. And for the date, we'll use a randomized date from today's date of the 19th, and we'll go to the 30th of this month. We've got 3 further fields here: first name, surname, and comment. And what the software will do is it will create the number of comments here, so 3 with the given first name, surname and comment. However, we don't want this to be static text because that would result in repetitive comments. That's not going to look good for SEO. We can either come up with our list of names and use spin tags for this, or if we click the braces here, the software will automatically provide some predefined default first names, and we can do the same for the surname. For the comment itself, I could again use spin tags if I wish, or I can once again make use of AI. So we'll use OpenAI here. We will instruct it to write a comment stating how useful the blog post topic was regarding the keyword blog title, and we'll set this to paragraph. So we just want it to be a paragraph of text rather than the article or other content types that can be more complex in HTML. We'll stick that to paragraph, and we'll probably do a maximum of 100 words there. We'll go ahead and click insert, and we can see that there's a shortcode here that instructs the AI to produce the content based on the topic that we just wrote in that modal window. Moving over to the right hand side, I'll click the content group tab here, and most importantly is this publish section. So by default we have always worked in previous videos with pages, but here we're focused on the blog, so we want to produce posts instead of pages. We also want to ensure we don't flood Google with all of these blog posts with the same date and time. That's not going to look genuine or authentic. And so we can make use of the status option here, and instead of publish we can use scheduled. The date refers to the first blog post, so we'll have the first one published now, remembering that we've got these 10 topics here in our terms. And then the schedule increment will determine the published date and time of the other blog posts that we have. I'm going to go 1 day, so what that means is that the first blog post on plumbing tips will be published immediately. The second one will be set to publish in 1 day's time, and then in 2 days' time, etc. If I'm happy with all of my settings, I can go ahead and click publish, and this saves our content group. The third step is to then generate that content. I like to always perform a test first. So if we scroll down to the actions here, we've got the test button, and this produces one post in draft mode, and that allows us to preview the content, make sure we're happy with everything before we go ahead and then generate all of our blog posts. So after a few moments, we can see that our test has been generated, and we'll click on the preview link. And we can see here that we've got the first title, followed by the generated image, and then we've got the AI blog post, and it's telling us how to perform some plumbing tips. And then below this, we've got our 3 randomized comments that have come through, each with a different date, name, and some different text. One thing that I've noticed is the title's all in lowercase, and that isn't ideal. I'd like that to be corrected. And I've got 2 ways of doing this. I could, in the keyword system here, go through and edit all of these and capitalize the first character of every word. Alternatively, I can make use of what's called a keyword transformation. And this is where after the keyword name and before the closing brace, we enter a colon, and we can enter a command that tells the system to transform each of those blog titles. In this example, I'm going to use the uppercase first character words. And what this will do is it will take those titles and set the first character of each of the words in each blog title to uppercase, so it looks a bit more presentable. We'll also go ahead and do this for the title, alt text description in the featured image. For a list of the supported keyword transformations, we'd recommend referring to the documentation, and we can see that we support the ability to uppercase and lowercase, as well as select first words, last words. We can make things into a permalink style. We can also force specific terms and do other transformations as well. Another point to note is that if you have a WordPress site with multiple WordPress authors or editors, you may wish to select the applicable author in the drop down here, or if you'd like to randomize which author is assigned to each of the generated blog posts, you can go ahead and tick the random option there as well. If I'm happy with everything, I'll click the save button, and once again we'll perform a test to see that that keyword transformation has taken effect. And if we're happy with that, we can go ahead and then generate all of our blog posts via the browser. With our test ready, we can click the link to preview, and this time we can see that the title has been capitalized for each of those words at the start. We have the generated image followed by the AI content, and then the comments with the random names, dates, and content. I'm happy with what I see here, so we'll go ahead now and generate via browser. We'll click generate via browser, followed by OK. On screen we can see that the blog post generation is complete. You'll notice that all 10 posts were generated, even though we instructed the software to schedule those posts. And this is deliberate and by design. You'll see that our first post has a valid permalink and the others have a preview link. If we navigate to the post screen, we'll see why. So the first post on plumbing tips is published now, and then you can see that all of the subsequent blog titles that we had have honored that setting of being 1 day apart. What this does is when we generate our content, Page Generator Pro will produce all of the blog posts immediately, but it will schedule them ready for WordPress to automatically transition them from scheduled to publish. In the same way, if you were to manually create a post or page and set its publication date for the future. And this is great if you're busy running your business or busy as an agency owner, because you don't have to keep coming back to the site and generating content all of the time. It's done for you. Here we've demonstrated 10 posts, but there's no limit on the number that you can go ahead and generate. We can look at any of these posts as well. So this is the published one here. We could go back and preview the next one on how to fix the leak. And if we move to our blog, we can see that the first post is here with plumbing tips, and we've got the image there. And we can go ahead and simulate as if we fast forwarded to 10 days time by going ahead and publishing all of these posts now. And then if we go back to the site and view our blog, we can see that we've got a really nice list of blog posts with some search engine friendly titles. Your theme will handle this layout as well as the pagination as well. We hope you found this tutorial useful. I would recommend checking out the other videos on our YouTube channel as well as our documentation. We do a deep dive into the plugins functionality as well as provide other tutorials on how to perform specific tasks, whether it be for service pages, comparison pages, location pages, etc.